Hello everyone, welcome to this channel. In the previous video, I have shown you how to integrate a Blazor WebAssembly project in ASP.NET 9 with generative AI using OpenAI API key and generate text from given prompt. Okay, but in that process, I have shown you that the API key that you get from OpenAI with the whole procedure of how you get it to the OpenAI services. But here you can see that I have redacted. In the video, you can see it redacted with red border just to prevent any misuse. Okay, because anybody can also copy this API key and I'll be charged for the API key because it doesn't come free after a certain limit. That exposes a vulnerability in this application, which we will discuss. But first, let me switch over to the next part, that is how to create another method for image generation. And then after successfully demonstrating the image generation, I will show you how to make it more secure in a third part. All right, so let's switch over to the next part. Now, guys, before we move to the actual coding and step-by-step instruction on creating the image, it will be a great idea, isn't it? It will be an awesome idea to see the end result or finished product of the image generation. Okay, so here we go. A smart and beautiful young lady, generate image, creating the image. It's still creating the image, so we'll come back. Wow, 3 awesome young and beautiful ladies are in front of you. So isn't it fun generating the image straight in your Blazor application? So I will carry on with my previous solution, which you have seen in a previous video, and the solution is still the same: OpenAI Blazor app, and also the key is the same API key we'll be using. So what I will do is, just to save a lot of time copying and a lot of time typing on your on the keyboard, and for you to follow it word by word, code by code, I have made the process easy by copying and pasting on from my clipboard. Okay, so this is the generated image async. Now let's understand it word by word or step by step or code by code. Okay, so this is generate image async, similarly on the line of generate text async, which accepts a prompt in the form of a string, and it returns, it is an async method because we are dealing with ASP.NET Core or ASP.NET. So it is also giving you a task which is of type list of string, as opposed to this was just a single string, but this is a list of string, and we'll understand why. Okay, so I create a request body as a variable, which is having a few items, which is prompt. It has got a request body of prompt, is the prompt that is given to us as an argument, and number of images is 3. Here you can change the images and it will be shown as an image array, so you can make it 3, 4, 5. You might have seen it on the Bing AI image creator, and you usually find popularly most of these AI tools are giving 4 images to choose from, and the size I can choose a bigger size or a smaller size, but I've kept it as an optimal 512 by 512. All right, and then let us understand all these steps, all these line of code step by step, because they are very important. So I hope you will stay till the end to get the best value and understand each and every bit. Now it will be useful to say that this list of string will contain the URLs of the generated image, because there are multiple images to be generated. All right, and this request body is actually, it is generating a anonymous object with 3 properties, prompt, n, and size, which I just detailed. And this part, it is serializing request and setting headers. So JSON serializer dot serialize method with the request body as a parameter converts the request body object into a JSON string. And then new string content is wrapping this JSON string in an HTTP request body. And then sets the content type header to application JSON. Okay. And this line is setting the authorization header. It adds an authorization header to the request, and it uses a Blazor token rather than a bearer token, which is API key for authentication. An API key should be stored securely. Like in our case, it is I am storing it straight away here in this OpenAIService.cs class, which is unsafe completely. It's good for development or for just practicing, but you should not even put it into GitHub as it is, okay, without actually redacting or without removing the API key from here, or use some other method like putting it into an app settings.json file, which I will cover in an upcoming lecture. So this line, it is sending the HTTP request. Okay, so it sends a post request, post async, to the OpenAI's DALL-E image generation API. This is OpenAI's DALL-E image generation API. So version 1/images/generation, this is the API. And the request body, request content contains the prompts and the response, prompts and the settings. The response is stored in the response variable. Okay, now next is how to handle the API response. Now if the response is successful, 200 OK code, response dot is success status code, then what happens is that it passes the JSON response into a JSON element object and checks if the data property exists in an array. Okay, checks if the data property exists and is an array. Okay, out var data array, and extracts the URL from each image object and filters out any null or empty URLs. Okay, here, so this compound statement is actually iterating over the array of images using enumerate array method and extracts the URL from each image object and filters out any null or empty URLs and returns the list of valid image URLs. Okay, return image URLs, and then the exception. If the request fails, of course, API error or invalid request, then it reads the error message from the API response and throws an exception with error details. Okay, this is the explanation of this new method, generate image async, the all important method. And now we'll create an image generator component, Razor component, and put it in the pages folder. So add Razor component. So by convention and by default, this the starting letter should be in capital. Okay, so if I want to make it an image generator, so image generator, Pascal casing with both the words starting with the capitalization, I is capital and G is capital, image generator.razor. So I add it over here. It will be in the pages folder. So I am going to fill this image generator component. So I have it on my clipboard and I'll write it over the existing shell and save it. Okay, so it's all done. It is a page directive. This is for routing purposes, image hyphen generator, and then I'm injecting the OpenAI service over here. Now this will be, I think, pretty straightforward. So I'm binding the user input, which is a placeholder showing enter a prompt, and on click generate image button, okay, this will disabled and is loading. Okay, this will be disabled. So earlier, so now if is loading, this is a boolean variable, is loading equals false. It starts with a false value. Okay, and if it is loading, then it will initially show till the image. It takes a bit of a time, quite a few seconds, which you will see in all the AI tools as of now. So it will show you creating the image. It will not result in anything blank, so that you are completely in a dark what is happening. So it is creating the image, so it will be written in bold. And if the image URL are not null, because image URL here, it is a list of string. So if it is not null, or image URLs.any, any image URLs are available and it is not loading, this already loaded, then in a div you are writing for each var URL in image URLs, it is a list of string, each of string in this list of string, you are writing the image in the image tag at URL and with an alt of generated image. If the image is failed to load, it will return an alt statement, which is an just a text as generated image. Okay, now here is the code. So we are issuing a variable, we are initializing a variable user prompt as empty blank, okay, empty string, and then we are initializing an image URLs, which is a list of string, as a new list of string, and then is loading as false. Boolean we are initializing as a false, as default false, and then private async generate image. So if string is null or white space, if with the user prompt given, if it is null, string is null, then it returns, and is loading becomes true, show creating the image, and the earlier images are cleared, clear any previously generated images, and force UI refresh. This is important. It forces the UI to refresh, and then in a try catch block, image URLs are filled, are assigned from by the injection of this OpenAI service, OpenAIService.generate image async, which is this method. Generate images async. Okay, so whatever the user prompt is, it takes the user prompt, the generate image async, and then image URLs are generated, and if there is an error on the console, it is written, the error is logged, and then clear the prompt input after generating the image, and then is loading again becomes false. It hides the loading text. Okay, just to make sure that is loading is not true. Okay, its loading is true initially, so it needs to be made false because the images are now loaded. All right, you don't need this creating the image statement over here, and there is no further change in anywhere. Even the program file remains the same. Now it is ready to run. Okay, before you run, you might have noticed that I have missed out one step, which is actually creating a menu for this image generator. So what I will do is I will open in the layout folder nav menu.razor, and then you'll create below the home. I can create it. The home was used for the text generation from prompt. You could as well as written it as text generator rather than home. Okay, anyway, so now this is done. Now you are ready to run this application. If everything is all right, you should be able to generate a nice image from a prompt. Image generator, enter a prompt. A smart and beautiful young lady. Generate image. Creating the image. It's still creating the image. So we'll come back. Wow. 3 awesome young and beautiful ladies are in front of you. So isn't it fun? Generating the image straight in your Blazor application. So if you like this video, please do share with